Black Power Weekend Armageddon Conference gathering today. You know what I mean? And that's good because it's an Armageddon War Conference. And we got to understand why we need to put an emphasis on what war is. It's called a war conference for a reason. It's not just a war about whose information is right. It's about warring to liberate the hearts and minds of the people. So the war is against black academic underachievement. The war is a people being brainwashed, whitewashed, having their minds altered and distorted, okay, who don't know who they are, the reality of themselves, and therefore victimize themselves and have become victims of their own selves. It's about addressing the issues that persist in the community that are responsible for the pathologies that are destroying us. So when we talk about a war conference, the information is put out there to get you to reflect on our greatness, our possibilities, what we had before, and what we can do on a greater level today. So we revisit that, the history, and we get answers from the past to give us psychological balance and pride in ourselves, because we've been destroyed and distorted on that behalf too. You know, we are victims of miseducations. We are products of miseducation. So because we don't know who we were and the power of our own being, and considering the fact that we were in chattel slavery more time, almost 300 years, and we've been out of so-called chattel slavery less time than we have been in it. And being in chattel slavery wasn't just somebody in chains. There was a psychological campaign, warfare launched against the minds of the slaves to break him in and make him willing to be a slave and comfortable under white supremacy. We are descendants of that, 3 centuries or more in, and we've only been so-called liberated from chattel slavery. The mental slavery, the resurrection of the mind, the breaking of the shackles that need to take place is the paradigm in which we're existing and living in now, that are responsible for the traditions and the conditions that you see that we relish that are destroying us. We have to break those chains. So when we say it's a war conference, it's a war on black hatred. It's a war on global white supremacy. Yeah, we got to deal with the external, but we have to first deal with the internal, so we can be readily equipped and prepared on different levels to address the pathologies that we face that are destroying us. So this is a war conference, and it's called a comedic war conference, but it's also a war for the hearts and minds of black people. So we should take that into consideration. All those who came out here today, you should give yourself a strong black hand. You know what I mean? Because what that is reflective of is the fact that we are paying attention to the writing written on the wall. And I don't mean that in a biblical, shallow sense. A wall is something tangible that you see. Something that's written on it is obvious and tangible. It's in your face, basically. The writing written on the wall today are the things that we see going on socially, politically, economically, that we are faced with. And our outcry for justice, and for knowing who and what we are, and reattaching and realigning ourselves with our greatness. That's what we're fighting for right now. The writing is written on the wall. Okay? So you being here at this time is not by blind chance. You know, it's not because somebody's a conscious groupie or an enthusiast about hearing knowledge so they can mentally feel, elated for something. These are times that we need to pay attention to. This is the information age. And along with that, the destruction that they have in the campaigns and the executive orders that they have already launched against us many centuries ago, that they're manifesting, that we see happening right now in real time. King Alfred Plan, for instance, go check it out. That's the time that we're living in now. I've been conscious since I was younger. Not for nothing, and I humbly say that. The reason why I say that is the older I get, the more I realize how much more, and the wiser I get, how much more wiser that I have to become. And how much the opposition is stacked against us in so many layers. It's psychological, it's spiritual, it's academic, it's political. It's on so many different levels and in so many different layers. When we say war, it's not always about a war of ideologies. Like Brother Ali Muhammad so articulately put up there when he was doing his presentation, that we're black set tripping, black power or black ideology set tripping on something. I'm paraphrasing, and that's what it is. At the end of the day, this information information is supposed to be used as a catalyst to revolutionize the minds of the youth, who the war, our people in general, but specifically the youth that the war is launched upon. We're losing out here. You know, any people that are sovereign people protect their borders. A lot of people talk about sovereignty. We are dying out here in these streets. So how are you protecting the borders? You're not radicalizing the youth. And what I mean by that is not no crazy, oh, that sounds like terrorism. Don't get it twisted, because of distorted word semantics, how people process words that mean other things. Radical is coming from the Latin word radix, which means somebody who's interested in change, socially speaking, more particularly. You know? So to scare you away from or thinking that there's something wrong with fighting against the status quo in the order of the day that is by social design, that you're crazy to be radical. So when I say I'm radical black nationalist, I mean the information, the schools of thoughts that we have. If you're a sovereign and sovereign people have a defense mechanism to protect their borders, their people, their interests, their agenda, their future, who and what they are, that's real sovereignty. So we can say all these things. We can talk about Kemet, but they was building civilizations. We have to build civilizations. We have to duplicate the greatness, and we have to make it manifest in reality right here in real time now, instead of just pointing to a reference or something written on the wall 10,000, 5,000 years ago and being elated that we can quote that and recite that. It's time to bring Kemet back. If the first shall be last and the last shall be first, and we did these great things then, the potential and the possibilities that we have now, man, the sky's not even a limit. It's about making it a pliable science, though. The knowledge can't just be theoretical and something that we elate ourselves with at a lecture and then we go home about our ways and just watch some more videos and take some more notes. It's about making it a pliable science. This applies to me, too. We all got to step it up. You know what I mean? And I also want to give a shout out to the youth that's out here. You know they call me Longwind for a reason. My thoughts are vast. So as a consortium of ours break down, there's other things I wanted to say. I want to give the youth a chance to shine. These brothers, see, this knowledge is about them. The information, because the first law of nature is self-preservation, and the whole purpose and functionality of knowledge, as I always say and always will, that should just be my damn intro, is using the knowledge to problem solve, to inspire and impact the youth so they can use it for advancement, problem solving, and self-preservation. These brothers right here are young luminaries. These brothers could be in the streets doing whatever out there. All the vultures are out there in different forms, you know? These brothers, brother Marcus, you know what I mean? The brother Huika, right? Huika, you know what I mean? My brothers right here, Unity. You know what I mean? We got a study group right here. Show the brothers right here, you know what I'm saying? A shout out. We're doing things that promote unity initiatives based on the premise that we all have something in common. We desire knowledge and an insight. We shouldn't just come to these debates and link up, or not debates, or lectures, or conferences, or whatever the specific event is for that day, because we have many types, and come there and you just say, what up, peace, black power, hotep, Islam, and go home. You should be exchanging numbers. Not only just taking notes and checking out the information, but exchanging numbers, clicking with people these things you can click with. If you live in the same area or whatever, and even though you got to live around the same area, with technology, you can keep in touch with people. Start study groups, start unity initiatives on levels that are practical and real, based on something that you have in common, a desire or zeal to learn and have knowledge. And take that and unify based on that. Keep in touch with each other. Unless we don't want to just be, conference groupies. We just come here to see who's going to win a debate and who goes in the best. Nah, it's nation time. It's time to rise up and break the shackles, not just of not knowing history, but the shackles of the psychological shackles, the materialistic shackles, the shackles of self-hatred, the shackles of self-destruction, the shackles of division, the shackles that we don't trust each other. We have to break all these shackles. But it has to be an applicable science, so it can be beyond a theory or a reference in a book that we can make manifest in real time and use knowledge for its purpose and intention, which is for problem solving. You know what I mean? Hey, yo, brother Marcus, come on up here. Drop something to the people, man. This right here is a young, brilliant mind way before his time. His teacher right here, who is a brother who I can say is really one of my teachers too, because I learned a lot from this brother. You know what I mean? Everybody knows it.
I think one of our major missions should be reversing the residue of slavery. So, for instance, a lot of our people, just like you were saying, a lot of our people have been indoctrinated, institutionalized, because even the people around us, superficially what you see is a black man, but in essence what you may be seeing is a white man.
Okay.
They've saturated in their mind the white man's ideology. They wear the white man's clothes. They possess the white man's name. In essence, they are the white man. But superficially, what you're looking at is a black man. So when you live within a black community, you're living within a community populated by black people who in essence are white people and saturate their minds with music that perpetuate things like let's kill niggas. And whenever you think about a nigga, you think about a black man. So I think honestly what we should do is try to reverse engineer what slavery has done to us. What slavery has done to us. Slavery has left a residue on black people that has left them divided, and sometimes, even us conscious brothers, we perpetuate that. So, my brother Hui Kai right here, I like to give him ups because he even got ideas. Like, brothers from all over the place, whether you from Africa, whether you from wherever, united, melanated brothers need to unite. I think we need to reverse the residue that slavery has left. A lot of us are very separate from each other, and we need to unify. No matter whether we differ in religious doctrine, no matter if we share different belief systems, it does not matter. We need to unify under the banner of our darkness. Because when the cop shoots you and when the cop kills you, he doesn't care whether you're light skinned. As long as you dark, you're qualified to get murdered. So at the end of the day, whether we differ in ideology, whether we differ in faith, whatever, if you are melanated, if you are dark, we need to unify. We need to unify under the banner of our darkness.
Good. Back. You gotta take away from this conference today, what would it be?
Honestly, I'm in an environment where like my mind is, I wouldn't say my mind is limited, but my mind doesn't necessarily receive exposure to all this positive energy. Like I got all these people and they showing me so much love, but my mind don't receive that much exposure. Even some of us here, like we might not receive exposure to as much love as we want to receive. Feel me? So just the energy, like I love the energy. Feel me? Sometimes black people, unfortunately, aren't born into the most positive environments. So I think what we need to do, every black person that lives within communities that they can't control, is to create the environment. Environment is essentially influence. So what you allow to influence you, what you allow to inspire you, what you allow to enter within you is ultimately going to dictate what you do. So at the end of the day, I think this space right here is a great environment, and I'm allowing this environment to inspire me, and I'm allowing it to enter me and affect me unconsciously and consciously so that I can produce things for my people. So at the end of the day, what I could really take from this event is just energy. Like, I love the energy. I love the people. I love everybody I'm chilling with because it's nothing like this. It's nothing like a group of people getting together with one mutual and common purpose trying to actually produce something. Like, a lot of us talk it, a lot of us get caught up in the energy, but when it comes time to manifest, we here. So I definitely I love the spirit. I love the energy. Sometimes we get caught up in poverty and we get so lost in the immediacy of our situation that we forget that it's actually people out there that care. It's actually people out there that have the same mindsets as us. So to come into this circle and to congregate with you brothers is almost like a reminder, like, damn, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only youngin' that's out here trying to produce something.
Before we move on, I got a next elder question.
Yeah, no, brothers, no, man.
I'll take the affirmative. Take the meanest, most restless nigga. Strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggas, female niggas, and nigger infants. Tar and feather him. Tie each leg to a horse facing in opposite direction, set him on fire, and beat both horses until they tear him apart in front of the male, female, and nigger infants. Bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger males within an inch of their life. Do not kill them, but put the fear of God in them, for they can be useful for future breeding. Anybody know who Willie Lynch was? Anybody? Raise your hand. No one? He was a vicious slave owner in the West Indies. The slave masters in the colony of Virginia were having trouble controlling their slaves, so they sent for Mr. Lynch to teach them his methods. The word lynching came from his last name. His methods were very simple, but they were diabolical. Keep the slave physically strong, but psychologically weak and dependent on the slave master. Keep the body, take the mind. I and every other professor on this campus are here to help you to find, take back, and keep your righteous mind. Because obviously you have lost it.
I think that it's very important for different clans or different mindsets to unite themselves mentally before you can start to do anything when it comes to trying to explain what happened here and what happened here and what you did here. See, a lot of us are liars within ourselves. A lot of us are fakes because we really don't like that individual, but yet still we tap dance and we lie to ourselves about we like that brother. But until we get to that state of mind where we can accept the diluted programming that went on with us, and all of a sudden we get a little information and we transform that information into something that's supposed to be called knowledge. But then we don't understand that there's a pain inside of me that I haven't dealt with, and we call that self-hatred. It's impossible for a man to love a woman when he don't even love himself. It's impossible for a woman to love a man when she don't even love herself. It's impossible for her even to love her kids, which comes out her womb. And she's supposed to teach right from wrong when it wasn't even taught to her. So we have a whole society that is built on corruption, dilution, and things that are not propagated in the proper manner for us to survive in this wilderness of North America. But at the end of the day, we got to come together and understand that we are sick people. We have problems. There's a whole lot of people that are walking around thinking they're sane, but they're insane. Because they were brought up by a sick person. You know what I'm saying? Add to it, my young brother. We have to understand the importance about who we are and where we are going. Economically, spiritually.
My positive takeaway would be the emphasis that they put on the importance of the black woman. See, we put such an importance on the black woman. We say the black woman is God, but we don't understand when we look at our communities, there's 75% single black mothers in America, right? In the black America, there's 75% single black women, and there's nowhere like that around the world. I mean, people can come here from Africa. They stick together. Their family grew up with a family structure. People come in from South America or Mexico. It's the black people in America, their family, like the brother said, the household is destroyed. So until we fix that household, like Brother Reggie so eloquently put in Meduneta, there's a T every time you mention a woman in a Meduneta. She brings us together. So we have to focus on the black family, like my brother said, you know, because, and that's the most important thing that I got from this, you know, this event, this particular event. Another thing is that the black organizations have to come together. You know what I'm saying? We're so egotistically set on what we indoctrinated in that we can't open up to other communities. At this point in time, I shouldn't be fighting a Muslim or Christian, right? We should be coming together and fighting a common enemy, right? And that's the Caucasian man. That's the power structure that we're living under right now. So those are the things I got from this particular event, and we all have to materialize the idea of unity. Because it's good to talk about. We've been talking about this for a long time, but we have to materialize the idea of unity. We have to create international relation with the different kinds of communities. We have to have a group of people go into the Islamic community.
How do we begin to make that, bridge that gap? How do we make the how reality?
Well, there's a
what we need reality.
I don't want to drop it right now. I mean, there's a project in order right now. It's called UMA, United Melanated Association, and that right there is working as a UN for the black people, and that's communicating, building black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Black organization, non-profit organization, and also the conscious community. But it's starting with the organization because you have a lot of non-profit organizations out here that's working for no money to help the black community, right? They work off of donations. So right now there's a project called UMA, right? That I'm building with my brother right now. That's basically uniting. The sole idea or purpose of the organization is to unite people. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. 1 second. And another thing my brother mentioned that we have to get out of our personal indoctrinated belief systems and unite, right? But me personally, as a Nuwapian is like this. That's like saying you have to stop being a Nigerian or someone from Uganda, because Nuwapu is a culture. It's not like Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Nuwapu is a culture that works with actual facts, that works with science, right? It links us back to a pre-dynastic Africa. That's what Nuwapu is essentially. That's why when the brother was talking out there, he mentioned all these things, but he didn't mention Nuwapu in that sense.
To fight against the issues that we're dealing with today in real time, besides it being an ancient culture and a symbol with emblems that we wear, how do we implement that on a level to cause change right now?
Okay, because directly, Nuwapu is a culture. That's one thing that a black American is missing right now, is an actual culture. Let me break it down. Okay, if you look at the Jewish people, they have a culture that benefits them socially and economically, right? And everyone around the world respects that, right? So black Americans, I want to say I'm a Moor, or I'm a Christian, I'm a this, right? Instead of saying we are this, we're a culture, right? So basically, if you look at a culture, like the Jewish tradition, they have a bar mitzvah when that child turned 12 years old. Nuwapu, we have different things set up just like that as an actual culture. We have our own language, right? That originate from ancient African languages like Napatan, which originate languages like Middle Netta. So basically, Nuwapu is an actual culture that's leading us back to our natural way of life, being in tune with nature. We're based on animism, like the ancient Egyptians. Go ahead.
If you
the best research is out. The brother Ali said, in a time where our information is so fragmented, so scattered around everywhere, so divided, Ali said, man, Rich, everywhere we go, we home. I want the brother to elaborate on that. Just talk to the family, Ali. Elaborate on it, please, brother.
Here's the thing, man. I said it, and I said it on the stage. I'm going to say it right here. I see something happening in our community. I don't like it. We set tripping on black history, right? Set tripping. Like, okay, the Moors versus the Nile Valley. The Nile Valley versus the Hebrew. The Hebrew versus the people who call themselves ancient Americans. Like, this is getting ridiculous. And so the foundational principle that we need to lay down is like, look, the black man and woman been in every part of the planet Earth. We're the first people in every part. We can document it. That's what these presentations are about. We already know that, right? Why are we still meeting on that? You see what I'm saying? Why are we still meeting for feel-good sessions on history? That is for children. If we grown right now, all of us live in a real world. How do we take these platforms and build from the ground up? So my point was, the first slide I showed was a slide from a place called Chichen Itza, where black people who look like us arresting the people that we call Native Americans, who they consider foreigners coming onto their land. You see what I'm saying? So we do still got to rework some history because everybody don't know that. But my point is, everywhere we go, we home. So if everywhere we go, we home, we need to act like it. Can all these black scholars in here who come together put something together for our people? It could be a body politic, united front, saying, look, this is how we going to deal with all black issues. I don't care if it's Laquan McDonald. I don't care whatever. We put all the law researchers out. We can put the historians out. We can put the healing people out in one body. It don't mean you got to leave your organization. But we just need something like that at this time. We being called to that. Otherwise, niggas just going to be pissing on each other on the stage, trying to show who can beat their breast the hardest. And that's what's happening, bro. And so it's coming to the point where irresponsibility is the order of the day in the conscious community because we're not moving to the next level. And my point is this. Are you scared? Is there something in you that's actually scared? I just told them last week, Homeland Security was on my block. They named the whole organization, the terrorist organization, of an organization that we started called ISIS. We started that 11 years ago. Everybody know Ali Muhammad and ISIS. Ali Muhammad, I wasn't no ISIS terrorist. So now we busting these people in the ass financially, politically. And so they go and name a damn terrorist organization after us. So my point is, they know what's serious and they know what's not serious. This is not, listen, this is great for black people to come together. Shit, black people come together in church on Sundays. We talk shit about them like something is wrong with them. But look, what's the girl name, the sister name, who took down the Confederate flag in South Carolina? Mae Jameson. She was a Christian. Ain't no Black Power people went down there and took the flag down. So I'm tired of just like you going back and forth. Either you got heart or you don't. I don't care where you at. And we can read it. If you're a Christian, you got heart. She got heart. She climbed the pole, homie. I ain't
being on the stage, the amount of training we had, you know, Sidney Poitier, I was very fortunate. In fact, he came to I talked to him before that, but I think it was when he came to Soldier's Play. He said, "You're good."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I got a part in a movie in 1986. I called it The Nigga They Couldn't Kill.
Oh.
Yeah, he was supposed to be, he raped the white woman, and they tried to electrocute him, but it didn't work. And he became sort of a cult hero. No, not that one. That was the other awful one. But, and then they tried to hang him, and they tried to do all this stuff, and I had a lot of training day in me. And there were some Jewish people in the audition, and I said, yeah. They said, no, it's funny. It's like they hang them and then they can't. I said, yeah, like you bring some Jewish people into a room and they think it's a shower, but it's gas. Oh. And they said, right. I said, right. That ain't funny. So to me, it wasn't funny about putting a rope around my MFing neck either. I made a point. The guy was like, who the hell is this little nigga talking like this? So anyway, make a long story long, I called Sidney, and I was sick because he told me to call him. If I, you know, I said, man, they offered me $600,000 to play the nigga they couldn't kill. And he said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. He said, I'm not going to tell you that, Denzel. He says, but I can tell you this. The first 2 or 3 or 4 films you do in this business will dictate how you're perceived in this business. So you make a decision. You know, he didn't tell me what to do, and I give him credit for that. And I turned it down, and 6 months later, I got Cry Freedom and got an Oscar nomination. So it could have gone an entirely, you know, you never know. It could have gone, my whole career could have gone an entirely different way. Well, a different way.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ms. Davis?
And all the Jewish people now, just making a point. But I was dead serious about it because they were laughing. Like, oh no, it's funny. They electrocute him, and then I could just see the poster with me with a rope around my neck. You know, I just had dreams about it. Like,
I have a question.
that wacky guy they tried to kill.